It's come down to Drogba, who this time is the fifth penalty taker for Chelsea in the final shootout. He's done it! The greatest night in the history of Chelsea Football Club. It's finished at Sunderland. Manchester United have done all they can. That Rooney goal was enough for the 3 points. Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero!
What up? We're back with another episode of Oil Money FC. I'm Devin, along with my co-host Breck. We're here to talk to you about everything European footy, Eunice men's national team. We've had a wild couple days here. We're on cloud nine over here with our teams making the Champions League final. Breck, let's go. Let's go, baby.
Absolute scenes.
You can't make it up. This is what dreams are made of. Man City, my team making their first ever Champions League final. Just feels so good. Chelsea back in there again. I mean,
third final, and this is the third all English final too. So very historical final.
I just can't explain the feelings that I have after seeing this, because I mean, this is what we brought Pep in for, and you know, it's been years now and we've been winning trophies, but you know, this was obviously the ultimate goal, and to be here in the final to have a chance to win it all, it means the world. So it's been a great couple of days. We beat PSG on aggregate 4-1 with a 2-0 victory yesterday. It was just clinical. And Chelsea as well, clinical victory today. Real Madrid are just, they're just kind of a shell of themselves.
I mean, they have lots of injuries, so they're going through a lot over there. But yeah, it's not the Real Madrid we once knew, and it was great we'll kick it off talking City. It was great to see you guys beat a French team in the Champions League, because it's been the two French teams that have knocked you out.
And after Mbappe called, because everybody calls the French league a farmers league, he was trying to make a joke after, like last year after they made the final, that it's not a farmers league. But I mean, come on.
I think back to the moment. Do you remember when we watched the second leg? I think it was Pep's first year, maybe. At your house, we watched
Monaco.
We watched City versus Monaco. It was like an 8-goal thriller, and Bakayoko hit a header to win it, and you were like just devastated. And then it's like, you think now, you're like, it's been such a far journey, like really, so many years of Champions League, just depression, and finally you make a final.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people on Twitter talk about it too, which I totally agree with. That PSG looked like a collection of individual talents. And I know the talk always is about Man City spending money. That's all they ever talk about, the oil money, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, City showed like true heart and like teamwork. And you could tell, I mean, like there's that one play where Neymar was, dancing his way around the box, and he opens up for a shot. Ruben Diaz tries to block it. He dinks a little bit, fakes, tries to shoot again, and Zinchenko and Stones were just there to just stuff him, and they all hugged after. And it really just showed that, like, that's the one thing money can't buy. And like, you could say whatever you want about Man City spending a lot on players, but at the end of the day, like that's what money can't buy. And it really proved to be the difference in the game. I mean, at the end of the day, they were just outclassed on every level, and they showed just such a weak mental, as a team. I mean, with the red card in the first leg, the Di Maria red card yesterday, just stamping on Fernandinho, because Fernandinho, he's the king of getting away with fouls. And so like when he's kicking you over and over and over, and he's just getting away with it, like it gets frustrating. But you got to keep a cool head, because as soon as the one time he pisses you off and you stamp on his foot, there you go. That's it. You're off. So, I mean, like they couldn't keep composure, and it really just, they were outclassed. It was,
Mahrez with two. Yeah, my bad.
Oh, you're good. Yeah.
Mahrez with 2 goals. I wonder, like, I think you'll look back on this as like defining moments in his career, obviously, and like you'll think of the Leicester game against City, which is funny. But remember where he had that like insane run and scored, and that kind of won Leicester the title. And then I think you'll think about Tuesday's performance, where I know some of like the first goal was lucky that it bounced to him, but he was destroying the left back for PSG. I don't know his name.
And I said that on the last podcast.
Yeah, you did.
That was going to be a key for City, was exploiting that left back position. and Mahrez did it. And you're right, he got a little fortunate with the bounce, but I mean, that's just what a good player does is they make sure they're in those positions in case it does bounce like that. You know what I mean? And he put it away, and they never looked back. It was truly a great performance, and I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like we've turned the we've kind of turned the page on the you know Champions League
Demons.
demons, exactly, like not being able to, because we've lost to teams that are just not as good as
So
us.
much
Like,
inferior.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so like to beat Dortmund and then to actually beat a team that is as good as us, if not, I mean, some might say better in PSG. It was great. Ruben Diaz. I mean, what can you say? I mean, anybody who says he's not the best, right, the best center back in the world at the moment, at least at the moment, I'm not gonna open up an argument about who's the best center back overall, but at the moment, like if you don't like admit, like agree that he's the best center back in the world right now, then you just like have a bias in my, like, I'm sorry, because the man is just he's out there throwing his body, blocking shots with his face, blocking crosses with his face. The man like it was like a hockey game. Literally, it was like just throwing your body in front of the puck. Like, it was unbelievable to watch, and it felt good. I mean, finally, like, we don't have to rely on just scoring a bunch of goals. We actually have a defense that can shut down players like Neymar, Mbappe, I mean, Verratti, whoever it is, and God, it just feels so good.
And I
And
mean, that's been the thing with how you guys have gone out in the last 4 seasons in the Champions League is you can score well, but you know it's always been you guys leaking goals, and you get a great center back, and coincidentally you're in the Champions League final. So I mean that play where he dove and blocked his head was very John Terry-esque. Like there's like that famous John Terry clip of when he just dives at with a boot going right towards his head. I mean that's very old school defending by Ruben Diaz. And like you said, the only other center back who I think is on Ruben Diaz's level this season, and I don't even think he's on his level. I'm just saying if you can make an argument, would be Skriniar and for Inter. Had an
yeah,
unbelievable season, but even his season is pales in comparison to the job Ruben Diaz has done this season. And I mean, just to think like this guy is so young still,
he's
and
23. He's literally our age. You're 23. Fuck, I turned 23 in a month. I mean, damn.
yeah, I mean,
It's crazy
he's
to
going to
think.
be your center back for the next like 11 years, probably. So, and you got to think a defender like him, you look at Thiago Silva on Chelsea, like when you get that good and you lose the legs as you get older, you just become smarter and you know how to read the game better. And that's what Ruben Diaz is going to be. Like, he's probably a generational center back if you really think about it. He, like, he's Portuguese, right?
Yes.
I would be worried. Like teams should worry. Portugal is going to look scary in this upcoming year as if Ruben Diaz is in this type of form.
100%. And like, forget even Ronaldo. Like, they don't even need Ronaldo anymore. They've had so many good young players come up now, and like, I mean, it's insane. And like, another thing to mention too is it's crazy. Like, Pep mentioned it too. He mentioned after the game, he was like, my heart goes out to the players who didn't play, because he's like, you guys are so deserving of it. But he said, he's like, how am I going to drop these other players with the form they're in? You know what I mean? Like, you look at Sterling sitting there on the bench, who was such a pivotal, integral part of the success of City over the past like 3-4 years under Pep, and now he just can't even get in the team because of Foden. I mean, and I'm not even going to get into Foden. I mean,
You can't drop Foden. The guy, he's.
I mean, I won't even get started with him. I could go on forever about how just unbelievable of a young player he
I
is.
heard this take on shout out the kickoff. I'm a big fan of the kickoff, and the Man City fan that they have on there, Boovy, he was saying how in 5 years' time we could look back, like we could predict like Phil Foden will be in the Ballon d'Or voting in 5 years' time. Like, and it's really not that crazy of a take. Like, he is on the level of a Haaland and Mbappe, and those three guys are probably going to be the Ballon d'Or people, and like when they enter their primes in 5 years. So it's
100%.
crazy to think about how you went from like Vincent Company and David Silva, and then you basically got their clones, which they might even be like better in Ruben Diaz and Phil Foden. So it's like it's crazy. It makes me think of like one of like just a obscure reference, but like when the Packers, like you go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, you're like damn, he's just so lucky. It's like you go from Company and Silva to Foden and Diaz. You're like, how lucky could you be?
Yeah. And the thing was too, when like Foden was coming up and like coming up through the academy and getting older, and he decided not to leave and go out on loan to get playing time. Everyone was saying, "Oh, Phil Foden signs new contract just to sit on the bench. Oh, Phil Foden's not going to be developed." I mean, people just got to stop doubting Pep, man. Just trust him. He's a literal football genius. The man, like you just can't give this man enough praise. It's actually insane. Actually, I don't know how, like, what goes through that man. He must be crazy or something, but it's just absolutely unbelievable what he's done with this team to transform them when they were already so good, winning the league 3 out of 4 years. You know what I mean? Like, or 2 out of 3 years. That'll be 3 out of 4 now. Like, you just can't say enough about what he's done. And man, I'm excited for this final. I like our chances a lot. Chelsea are a great team. I think it's like, you can't even look at them as Chelsea because they had Lampard the whole season. I think it's a completely different team under Tuchel, or I know that obvious. I mean, it's obvious, but you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a great game, but I really am. I just feel like it doesn't matter who's in our way right now. It just kind of feels like destiny a little bit. It kind of feels like Pep is just finally fulfilling his destiny, but knock on wood, hey, Chelsea are a great team. It's going to be a great game. And it's only one game. It's not 2 legs. So that definitely plays a part. It's going to be great. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's just I worry like we play you guys this weekend in the Premier League, which we'll talk about later. But say we win this weekend, are we really gonna beat you guys a third time? You know what I mean? Like we beat you in the FA Cup, and then say we win the league, win in the league, and it's like it's so hard to beat great teams twice, and then beating a great team 3 times isn't like.
The thing
So
is, too, the team you'll see this weekend that City put out
it's so different.
will
Yeah,
not be anywhere near the team.
it'll be heavily
That's
rotated.
the thing. Yeah, you'll see Ferran Torres. You'll probably see Sterling. You'll probably see Jesus. You'll probably see Laporte. So, and the thing is, it's like that sounds like I'm talking about like the scrubs coming off the bench.
I know
It's
that
like,
team could easily win 5-0 too.
It's crazy. It's nuts. Pep
And the thing that scares me too is we haven't seen a lot of him this season, obviously, and it's his last season. But you just wonder, like, does Aguero get big minutes in that final? He probably will not start, but you could see him coming on in the 60th minute, and that, as a Chelsea fan, just the history of Aguero versus Chelsea terrifies me, especially in a one-game scenario.
I think he'll literally come. I think he'll come on either way. Like, I think if we're up, then Pep will give him the minutes because he's going out at Man City. It's his last season. Like, get him his Champions League final minutes. He literally said back in 2014, I'm not leaving City until
he's the last one in the picture. He's the last guy.
And so, like, and then if we're losing, I think you got to bring on a person like that with a killer instinct. I think Pep will roll the dice with him. So I think he comes on either way. But I mean, he showed last weekend at
Still got it.
Crystal Palace. I mean, that goal was just sumptuous. I mean, just clinical. I mean, the man doesn't even no fear. Just in front of net, it's like he's an assassin. He just he knows how to finish. So yeah, no, I mean, yeah, he's definitely not going to start. Pep can't just change everything that he's done to get us to this point. With the false nine playing Foden, De Bruyne, Mars up top, but I think Aguero definitely sees minutes at some point, no doubt. But yeah, no, Chelsea. I mean, hey, let's hear it. Get into it. The boys look great today, man.
We did look great today. It's really night and day. I hate to bash Lampard, but you watch games from early in the season to now, and there's such a difference. Like
he just wasn't ready to be a coach.
There's such a clear system that you watch. Like today's game, you watch and you're like, Zidane is tactically some would call him a genius as well. Like he's no pushover, and it's like Tuchel just got everything right today. And in his like reign since January, I mean, we've scored like some 20-something goals and only let in like 2 goals. So the way we've implemented the 5 at the back with the wing backs, it's reminiscent of the Conte season in 2016. But just the system we play, the midfield. Jorginho today got a foul in the 11th minute, got a yellow card, and then the rest of the game won 11 tackles and didn't get the second yellow, which was worrying. And Kai Havertz today, could have had a hat trick, to be honest. He chips Courtois, which led to the opening goal by Timo. Who, if Timo Werner missed that one, I don't know. He was
Get him out. Send him.
Get
Ship him to fucking MLS at that point.
There was a thought in my mind when that ball was dropping down. I was like, oh no, he's gonna miss. Like,
I mean, yeah, I feel you. I mean, at that, but you can't. With him, it's like nothing's secure until the ball's literally over the line.
And just the rest of the game. I mean, we just dominated the whole game. It seemed like we had possession the whole game. Their midfield, which is one of the best midfields of the last 5 years in the world, N'Golo Kante kind of just solo queued, just destroyed the midfield. And
N'Golo Kante really is insane, man.
He won the ball back like so many times. He eventually in the second half sets up the pass to Pulisic, who pulls it back and then hits Mount for the winner, or not the winner, but just seals the game, and we win 2-0. But it's crazy to see how far this team has come since January. Like, just thinking back to the beginning of the season too. Like, there was such optimism coming into the season. Then the whole Lampard losing streak happened, and he gets fired. And who would have thought that we would be in the Champions League final? Like, City, even though the start of your guys' season was a little rough, you're still a club that's like expected to go far in the Champions League. So to see us both here right now, it's mind blowing when you look at
really
the teams in August.
Yep, no doubt. And yeah, I think another thing I want to say about City real quick is one unsung hero, and I know you don't necessarily agree with this, but Alexander Zinchenko, man, that man is a beast. Just because, like, if you like, he's clearly clearly wasn't supposed to be the starter. Clearly, like, wasn't the most technical or like best defender or best anything, but like he's just shown like grit and like just like willed his way into the team just by like consistency, and he really deserves a lot of praise. I mean, he really, like, you saw him crying after the game yesterday. Like, he knows that like what he's done is incredible. And
he was on the outs too. Like, it wasn't like rumored before this season that this could be like his last.
Yeah, because I mean, you had Angelino, who they loaned out to Leipzig, and then you obviously have Benjamin Mendy, and you have Cancelo, who didn't even play. That's another thing. Cancelo's been so influential this season, didn't even play. And yeah, no, you look at the team sheet, and it's hard. It would seem hard to find a place for him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But he's really earned the hell out of that.
Yeah, because Cancelo could play left back. He played left back, I think, early in the season, was great too. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Another person we gotta give props to, because another guy who was kind of on the outs with City was John Stones, and had like lots of games where he made lots of mistakes in the past. Kind of got froze out of the team last year, and then you bring in Ruben Diaz, and John Stones has reinvented himself. I was
going to say, it's the Ruben Diaz effect.
I feel so confident right now about John Jones. Ooh, John Stones. Like, leading the back line for England now. Like, he had that shaky game against Croatia, and then I don't think that's in him anymore. I think he's kind of got those defensive yips out of his system just by being next to Diaz.
I agree. It was kind of a similar thing with Sterling. I mean, John Stones was going through some personal problems that definitely contributed to him like not being at his, top form or what they brought him in for. But it's similar with Sterling. You can see, which it's not the best thing, but their mentals can be a little fragile, where it's like when they're on and they're confident, no one can stop them. But as soon as something goes wrong, like, for example, like Sterling right now, like not playing, it's not like something goes wrong. Like, he wasn't playing well. It was just like Foden and Mars were so good, there was no place for him. And that, like, when he does come in now that he's not playing, like, he doesn't look good at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think Stones just needed someone like Diaz and just needed that confidence back. And like, once he got it back, like, he's unbelievable.
He's finally living up to the potential that people thought he had at Everton. Like, when he was at Everton, he got rumored to go to Chelsea, and then City eventually signed him. But people were talking about him as like the next English defender that's going to be great. And he was good for City for when they signed him, he was okay, and he was a solid defender, but he has stepped up from being like a solid defender to being like a world class defender this season.
100%. Yeah, and I think Pep deserves credit for that as well. But the Ruben Diaz, man, I mean, oh my God, it's insane. Thank God for that, man. That man's a legend already. He's literally a City legend already. Literally, like just based on this season. Like, I know that sounds ridiculous, but like, if you like you said, if you look at where we were before he came in right after a 5-2 loss to Leicester, where our defense it looked like we were in like 11th. It looked like this
When
was
that
gonna be
game
a
happened,
terrible
I
season for
thought,
us.
okay, well, City's problems are not fixed. It's going to be the same problem
Yep.
this year. And then, they make the signing, and
And
what
he
a
was our
signing turned
second
out to be.
choice. We
Yeah.
wanted Koulibaly. We couldn't get Koulibaly because Napoli wanted a fucking fat sack of cash. And that's one thing about City's owners. Say what you want, oil money, whatever the hell. We
They
don't
never spend more than like 50 million.
Yeah, exactly. We don't spend 200 mil on Neymar and 130 mil on Dembele and Coutinho and Hazard and all that. Like, no, we buy 40, 50, 60 million players and
Develop them.
and develop them. Exactly. And so it's like, yeah, Pep has bought a lot of players, but at the same time, it's like he's not like that. If you look at the top 10 highest transfers of all time, I'm pretty sure there's not a single Man City player in there. So it's like,
I think they could break that this summer by signing a striker. But
if they sign Haaland, I think
if they sign Haaland or Kane, but
Kane would be a bag too. I don't even think we need to.
You would when it happens, you'll be like, we need this. But
I don't know. This false nine is working, man.
Yeah,
with the defense, it looks good. But I know what you mean though.
Credit to Pep though, because like you said, you bring in the $40-50 million players, and you look at other $40-50 million players that go to teams that are bad. Like you look at a player like Joe Linton. I know this is a ridiculous comparison, but 40 million for Newcastle. He's a decent player, but like if he was brought to City, he would be better. You know what I mean?
100%.
It's like the way they develop players that go to other teams for the similar, price tags is pretty incredible. Because
exactly my point about PSG. You can spend 200 mil on Neymar, but if there's no like team, like identity, then it's not like, what's the point?
It's got to kill PSG that 2 straight years. Like this was prime chances to win the Champions League, and 2 years in a row they blow it.
You beat Barca and Bayern on the way to City, and you got it. Like they must have thought like, this is it. Like we're beating the teams, and then like, man, the Pep just brushed them aside like they were fucking Stoke on a cold, rainy Tuesday.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, it was great to see Mahrez scored 2 more goals. I mean, the man is just in insane form.
3 goals over the 2 legs is pretty. That's like Ronaldo, Messi type stuff.
He scored against Dortmund too. I mean, yeah, he's something else. And
he was another player too. Just from football Twitter and looking online, that a lot of City fans gave him hate this year, early in the season. Like people thought, get him out.
They also gave him hate when he first came in too. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people this year were like, you have to get rid of Mahrez. He can't be playing anymore. Like Foden has to start in that position. And Pep stuck with him. And why did they doubt Pep ever? You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
Mahrez delivered in the end.
Yep. And that's another thing about City is that like a lot of players come in and the first year it looks like they're going to be a bust. But then like all it takes is that 1 year to just like get like acclimated, get your feet wet, and like, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they pop off the next year. Mahrez, Cancelo. I truly believe Ferran Torres next year is going to have an insane year. I think that he's a bright young player. So I mean, yeah, no, any City fans that count players out after 1 year or count players out ever it's just you're not thinking clearly.
Yeah, it's just sometimes you gotta doubt these people. Gotta just stop doubting these players from a small sample size. Like you look at players on Chelsea like Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, players that were brought in for big money and yes, have had disappointing seasons, but have come up in pretty big moments. Recently since Tuchel's taken over, and you just think like this is a bad season for Timo Werner, and he has 12 goals and 11, 13 assists in all competitions or something. So just imagine next year when he's, I think he'll be better. He could be like a 20 and 15 type guy next year. And it's just it's so frustrating when you see, especially at the beginning of this season, everybody was like, "Oh, Mason Mount's really not that good," and ever since Tuchel's taken over, he's been world class. And
Yeah, and
a lot of people draw comparisons between Foden and Mount, which is they're both going to be great players.
I think
Can we just
they're different types of players
they're
too. Like I
different
don't
types of
think like
players.
Mount is more of a true midfielder, whereas I feel like Foden has established himself as a great winger.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, another thing with Mount too is that like people, because he was good under Lampard. Like Lampard had a lot of trust in him. He was great
Yeah,
under Lampard. And people thought that once Tuchel came in and Lampard was out, it was like, oh, that's the end of Mason Mount. Like that's it. But like, no, he's special too. I mean, England is raw,
is raw, and I
raw.
mean,
But can they when it comes down to it, can you actually go perform though? That's what it always comes down to. And
that's
another thing, real quick, I wanted to bring up about like players' mentals and stuff, and like people on Twitter like calling them out. People need to understand, like, you might just be some average Joe out there in the middle of England or wherever you are tweeting about how fucking Riyad Mahrez is a bum or
how Mason Mount's
Mason Mount,
terrible.
Timo Werner sucks, but it's like they see that shit. I'm convinced like they have Twitters, like they're not seeing obviously nearly like close to like every reply or every
Yeah,
tweet,
they
but it's
see
like
the hate though.
they definitely know like 100. They have to. There's no way unless they're just completely off of social media, which they're all like young, like newer generation people at this point now. Like they're clear, like they definitely have social media. They're definitely on it. They're definitely seeing that, and that doesn't help. Like you need to, your applause for your players and your praise and like your backing the players means a lot more when they're losing and down bad than it does when they're winning. It's easy for anyone to, be like, oh, he's a great player when they just won the fucking Champions League final. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
oh, Riyad Mahrez is great. They won the Champions League this year, or Mason Mount's or Timo Werner's great. They just won the Champions League. It's like, but like anybody can say that, but it's like the players need your support when Timo Werner's missing sitters or Riyad Mahrez is missing a penalty against Liverpool. You know what I mean? Like that's when they
yeah,
need your support. And I think fans really need to understand that, like the influence they have on social media is like way bigger than they could ever imagine.
yeah. Because like you're right. Like Timo Werner checks his phone in the morning and just sees all the hate, and it puts him in a bad mood. And you could say, oh, he's weak mentally. But if it were the people, if the people could switch positions with Timo Werner, they would handle it the same way. Nobody would handle it well, getting all that hate.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%.
And I mean, people got to remember too, the Premier League, when you come to the Premier League, there's always a year gap where the great players, the first year they come, they're great. But like, just it's so hard to adapt to the Premier League. Look at Pep Guardiola's one of the best managers. He's almost in the case of you could argue best manager ever at this point. But his first year was you can say this better than that. He had a horrendous first year, and it's the same with players, man. Like when you come from an Italy or Spain and you come to the Premier League, there's usually first season struggles because you got to get used to not as much space. You watch some of these other leagues, there's so much space for these players to dribble around, and it's just you got to let these players adapt.
Yeah, no, that exactly my point. I agree. I mean, every league is different, and like you said, the world class generational players are going to be able to most of them adapt in any league and come in right away and make and make an impact on the team. But you got to give them some like a leash. You can't be that hard on them, right from the get go. So yeah, no, but hey, it's gonna be great. What is it, May 29th, the final?
Istanbul, that night in
Istanbul.
Istanbul, yeah,
Let's go. I
it's
can't
gonna be
wait.
for one of us. I can't wait. I said this to you before. Regardless of the result, I'll be crushed if we lose, obviously, but I'll be happy that you won your first
If
Champions League
there's
final.
literally any other English team I would want to see win the Champions League, if it has to come down to it, it would be Chelsea.
Firm handshakes.
Firm handshakes, baby. But yeah, no, we're gonna smack you. But yeah, no. Moving on, we got a still great race in La Liga. Well, real quick, we'll start with Serie A just because Inter wrapped it up, ended Juventus's whatever 9-year Scudetto run. So that's good for them. Antonio Conte, fucking legend.
My favorite manager in the game today. I wish he was still our manager. I love Tuchel, obviously, but a lot of things could be different in the current, Chelsea world if we just kept. And you think too, who did Antonio Conte want to sign? Is in his second season, but the board wouldn't give him the money. He wanted to sign Lukaku,
Lukaku, yep.
and then he wins a
Got
title
Morata
with
instead
he wins a title with
Lukaku
Lukaku
playing out of his fucking mind.
out of his mind in his system. So it's just kind of like poetic justice in that way.
Yeah, no, it was a clinical league run from Inter. It wasn't really even close in the end.
No, it's good to see, those type of long runs, reign of teams winning consecutively end. So congrats to Inter.
Yeah, but La Liga, we got Atletico versus Barcelona, huge title implications this weekend, and Real Madrid play Sevilla. It's still hot over there in Spain, man. They don't know they don't know how to pick a winner this year. They're the league with the best competition this year.
Definitely 4 games to go, and I think the winner will be determined this weekend. I think whoever wins the Atletico Barca game goes on to win the league because
yep, unless it's a draw.
Unless it's a draw, but I could clearly see Barca winning, Real Madrid draw Sevilla, and then the league's essentially over. You know what I mean? Or if Atletico win, and even if Real Madrid win, they'll still have a 2-point gap with 3 games to go. Their competition drops off because it's they have easier games. So this is really, in my opinion, the title decider this weekend.
Yeah, no doubt. And I kind of hope Atletico win. I like Atletico. When I was studying in Madrid, I went to a game there. It was awesome. I grew fond of them. They kind of became like my second team.
It'd be good for the league. Real Madrid and Barca obviously won the last, in the last 15 years. I think Atletico has won title, so it'd be good to see another team win the title.
Yeah, but it'll definitely be a good race going down to the wire. And like you said, this weekend will probably decide it. But yeah, no, and then the French league, Lille holding on over PSG. I mean, now that PSG are out, you got to think that they're just gonna steamroll everyone. And I mean, Lille control their own destiny. If they win out, then they win. But PSG are gonna smoke everyone and kind of keep the pressure so high that it might cause Lille to bust. But hey, I hope not.
Yeah, I hope Lille wins. Hopefully, Timothy Way gets a trophy. But
yeah, the boy.
There's a lot of players on Lille that when you look through their roster, I was looking the other day, I was like, oh, remember him on Tottenham. Remember him on
Jose Font.
Remember him on Southampton. You're like, oh, wow, a lot of those players are on Lille making a title push, so good for them. Hopefully they can hold. But yeah, like you said, the pressure PSG is going to put on them, all they have to do, Lille is draw once and it's over. So
and yeah, exactly. PSG is not losing any more games. They don't play like Monaco or Lyon or Lille even.
And it's tough because if you're PSG, it has such big implications. If they didn't win the Champions League, and if they don't win the league, which is kind of guaranteed to them every year, you wonder if an Mbappe leaves or Pochettino, what happens there.
Yeah, no, 100%. It'll be interesting to see. I can't wait. I hope Lille wins. That'd be dope.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then Premier League, we got City playing Chelsea this weekend. City could have won the title this past weekend, but we'll get into this real quick. Obviously, I'm sure anyone who's a fan of the game saw the Liverpool United game get canceled because the United supporters kind of went batshit crazy on the Glazers and stormed the field and stormed the stadium and kind of were just like, if you're not going to listen to what we have to say, then you're not going to play the game. And as much as I hate United and can't stand their fan base and despise them with every fiber of my being, I gotta at least respect that if you're a storied team like that, because us as Giants fans, I feel like we feel the same way. When you and obviously the Giants aren't the Man United are kind of like the Patriots of the Premier League. So we're not like that, but at the same time, it's when you've seen a couple Super Bowl victories, you start to have expectations every year. Whereas United fans have got to be thinking we used to run this shit. You know what I mean? We used to
been
be
8 years.
And now it's we haven't finished. Forget even winning the league. We haven't even finished above our neighbors on the blue side in 7-8 years now. You know what I mean? They're finishing above us. A few years here, we're struggling to even qualify for the Champions League. We get dumped out of the Champions League this year by Istanbul Başakşehir, who are like literally getting relegated from from the Turkish league.
And they've spent a ton of money.
You can't. Yeah, I know that's another thing. I don't want to hear about City spending money when they're spending $80 million for a fridge to play center back, and he's just like a bum. I mean, but yeah, no, I don't blame the fans at all, and you got to respect that they kind of got to the breaking point where it was like, we got to take things into our own hands here and make something happen, because these owners clearly don't care. And it's sad too, because as Americans, like, I don't want to see this, but there's a lot of anti-American sentiment now among fans of the Premier League, especially with Arsenal having owners that are American that clearly don't give a fuck. United having American owners that clearly don't give a fuck.
He didn't even know the offside rule. I mean, guy does not give a fuck.
But they probably didn't. Like, I saw this as like this was a popular tweet on or like a popular thing on Twitter. It was like they didn't even, the Glazers, like, forget protesting against them on Sunday for the match against Liverpool. They didn't even know they were playing. Like, you know what I mean? It's like like this dude's probably out on his yacht somewhere and like
in Florida, just chilling. Like,
yeah, so I mean, you got to feel for them at least to that extent, even though I fucking hate them.
Couple things about this. I mean, there was obviously some bad stuff, and I hated to see the English media vilify the whole protest as like there was bad people there. Like, it was the minority that did. A guy threw a tripod and one guy, hit a cop, and that's bad stuff, and those guys should be subject to the law. But the majority of the United fans, it was a peaceful protest, and the only reason they got into the stadium was like the security just let them go in. So I don't know if you saw some of the videos. They just broke down a door, and then the security was like, "All right, just go in." So
yeah,
some
dude's doing a bicycle kick at the fucking Stretford end, like.
Yeah. But another thing too, it was like another guy that we don't really like very much on this podcast is Graham. I can't. What's his last?
Souness. Yeah.
He was saying, "Oh well, now that they're not winning titles, they're upset." It's like there's photos from 2007 of Glazers out, in the Champions League final and stuff. So this has been a long time. Like, there's been 15 years of this from United fans, protests, the green and gold until the Glazers out. So yeah, like you said, you got to feel bad for some of these fans, and a lot of the media is like, "Oh well, there's better ways to do it." They've been trying the way that the media wants them to do it for so long. It's same with the Arsenal fans. They've been saying their displeasures for so long, and it's like at the point where it's like, okay, we got to protest now. It's we have no more options.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying is like, exactly. It gets to the point where it's like words and expressions and signs in the stands can only do so much, where it's like we have to take matters into our own hands. And
I mean, the Newcastle fans did a 35,000 people walkout 5 years ago, and to protest the owner. It didn't do anything.
Ashley? Yeah, guys,
didn't do anything. So
yeah.
It's kind of like we're in a little revolutionary time in football. It's crazy.
And the protest over the weekend wasn't like to do with the Super League, but the Super League definitely had to like propel these feelings that they're having, because they're like, not only do they not give a fuck about the team and winning, they were about to ship us off to another league just to make a quick extra buck. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so like,
and I mean
I'm already down and you're just like pissing on me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm already like, you beat me up and then you just pee on me. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? That's kind of what it must have felt like for them.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of these clubs that like United, Real Madrid, Barcelona are in massive debts because of terrible financial investments they've made in the past, and these American owners see the debt and they're like, "Oh, the Super League can cover our debt, great." Like, they just don't think about.
Yeah,
it's
because the Glazers, when they took over United with United's own money. This is what I was reading on Twitter. They took over United with its own money. Then the owner, one of the Glazers, took out a loan in his own name, used the money and revenue from United to pay back the interest on the loan.
Yeah,
that he took out. Crazy. It's like, come on. Like,
and they're the only club in the Premier League, I think, that their owner pays. The owners pay themselves a salary for being the owner of the club. Which, when you think about it, is ridiculous when you're billionaires.
Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, you got to feel for them at least a little bit, because, like I said, when you've been accustomed to that success, you know it's not going to last forever, especially like when your manager that's responsible for it leaves and Sir Alex Ferguson. But you can't just fall off to like this point. Like they're not going to put up with that clearly. So,
And I mean, the recent news that the last 2 Premier League games of the season and the Champions League final will have fans. So I really hope we see fans going forward still keep up these protests, bring out the banners at games, voice your displeasures, like keep this going. I would love to see this momentum of
yeah, although I'm Glazers in forever. I'm Glazers in. Let them stay. Let United suck. But
yeah.
if I was a United fan, definitely would be I'd be ticked off to an astronomical extent at this point. But yeah, anything else? I think covered just about everything here.
No, I mean, talked a lot of City, a lot of Chelsea. It's just May 29th is so far from now. You're like, I wish the final could be played in like a week, but
is it tomorrow? I wish it was tomorrow.
I wish it was tomorrow. But May 29th cannot come any sooner. It's gonna be scenes. It's gonna be great.
Yes, sir. But yeah, no, we took a week off with the podcast, unfortunately, but we're back this week, and we'll have another one out next week after the La Liga action. I'm definitely excited to see what happens there, and the French league as well, and then we'll see if City can wrap up the league this weekend with a win. But yeah, no, that's it for us. We appreciate everyone.
And one last thing is, it's early, but we're probably gonna have like a little, watch party for the final that we'll post on our YouTube channel.
Oh, so we're having the watch party. So it's if we can figure out a way to like stream it or live stream it or some way. We'll try and figure out a way to do that. But yeah, no, we'll definitely have great content for that, because that's going to be. I mean, what are the odds we start this podcast a month ago and then all of a sudden now our teams are playing
in the Champions League final?
Yeah, the oil money destiny is real.
It's real.
But yeah, that's it for us. Appreciate everyone listening. Follow us on Twitter, @oilmoneyfc1. And subscribe to our YouTube. Hey, anybody that listens, please drop feedback in the comments. We're new to this, obviously. We wanna hear anybody's feedback, positive, negative. I mean, if it's negative, hey, listen, you don't gotta be a cock about it, but we appreciate, we need feedback because we're just new to this, and but we do appreciate everyone listening, and yeah, that's it for me. As for you, Breck, anything else?
Peace out.
Hey, thanks, squad. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week.
GTA, if I bang man's face, man bopped in lean. Kun Aguero, man dropped the shoulder, faint once, quick kick, then I drop man's G. First time I link her, Nando sweet. 9.95, I swipe then eat. A 1-2 rap, she don't give hat. Thiago Silva, man blocked then ski. Had man screaming, look, there's my man, hand in my pouch like where.